Latest version of Zorin OS hit 1 million downloads just 5 weeks after it was released, which, according to Zorin themselves, broke all
February 2026. Zoran OS releases their annual user report. The headline number stops the tech world cold. 1 million new active users migrated to Zoran OS in a single quarter. Quarter 4 of 2025. 3 months. 1 million people who were using Windows looked at their options and chose a Linux distribution most people had never heard of 6 months ago. Not Ubuntu, not Linux Mint, not Fedora. Zoran OS, a distribution built by two Irish brothers, Artyom and Kirill Zorin, in a Dublin apartment. Started as a school project in 2008, now absorbing 1 million Windows refugees in 90 days. The Zorin team expected growth. They did not expect this. Their servers crashed 3 times in January from download traffic. They had emergency scale infrastructure. Because Windows 11 created so many refugees that even smaller Linux distributions are drowning in new users. In this story, a family-run Linux project overwhelming Microsoft by simply treating users with respect is the most humiliating chapter in Windows 11's catastrophic history. The distribution Microsoft never worried about.
And there you go. Back into freedom. This is open source software. Privacy is part of this operating system. This is Linux, not Windows, that's trying to track you or shove AI in your face and make you use an agentic AI operating.
Microsoft tracks competitors, has entire teams monitoring Apple, monitoring Google, monitoring enterprise Linux vendors like Red Hat and Canonical. They have competitive intelligence on Ubuntu. On Linux Mint, they know the numbers. They adjust strategy accordingly. What they never tracked seriously was the Zorin OS, because Zorin OS had 200,000 active users in 2022. Small, niche, not worth monitoring. That was a catastrophic oversight. Zorin OS is different from other Linux distributions in one specific way. It's designed to look exactly like Windows, not as an imitation or mockery, as a genuine migration tool. The Zorin brothers understood something other Linux developers didn't prioritize. The biggest barrier to switching from Windows isn't technical difficulty, it's visual familiarity. Users panic when they can't find things, when the taskbar looks different, when the start menu is in an unexpected place, when file management works differently. Zorin OS eliminates that barrier completely. Install it, and your desktop looks like Windows 10. The taskbar is at the bottom. The Start button is bottom left. Files are organized the same way. System settings look familiar. Users switching from Windows feel comfortable immediately. Not after a learning curve. Immediately. That design philosophy made Zorin OS the perfect Windows 11 escape hatch, because Windows 11 changed everything users knew. Centered the taskbar, removed features, reorganized settings, made everything unfamiliar. Users who hated the changes had 2 options: accept Windows 11's redesign or find something that preserved the familiar layout they preferred. Zorin OS gave them exactly that. Windows 10's interface, but free. No ads, no surveillance, no Copilot, no forced updates. Just a familiar, fast, clean desktop that works the way Windows used to work. The viral Reddit thread that started the avalanche.
What Microsoft have done with Windows 10 and Windows 11 is terrible. In my opinion, I think a lot of people would agree that now is the time to...
October 2025. A Reddit post on Windows 10 titled, "I switched to Zorin OS and my Windows 10 computer feels brand new again." Posted by user Pacific Northwest Dave. He describes a 2016 Dell Optiplex, 8 GB of RAM, Intel i5-6500 processor. The computer runs Windows 10 fine, but is locked out of Windows 11 by TPM requirements. Dave doesn't want to buy a new computer. Didn't want to learn Linux. Tried Zorin OS on a whim after seeing it mentioned in a comment. His post describes the experience. Installation took 18 minutes. The desktop looked almost identical to Windows 10. His printer worked immediately. His external hard drives mounted without configuration. His documents opened in LibreOffice without formatting issues. Boot time dropped from 41 seconds to 9 seconds. The computer feels genuinely faster than it did on Windows 10. The post gets 94,000 upvotes. That's extraordinary for a tech subreddit. The comment section runs 3,400 replies. The pattern is consistent. person after person saying they had the same experience, same speed improvement, same familiarity, same surprise that Linux could feel this much like Windows. One comment with 8,700 likes. I've been terrified of switching to Linux for 15 years. I installed Zorin OS yesterday because of this post. I've been using it for 6 hours. I haven't needed to Google a single thing. Everything just makes sense. Why didn't I do this sooner? That comment gets its own wave of replies. People tagging friends, saying, "This is us in 6 months." The post spreads beyond Reddit. Twitter picks it up. YouTube channels reference it. Tech newsletters include it. Within 2 weeks, Zorin OS downloads tripled. Their website traffic increases 890%. Servers strain under load. The Zorin brothers, who handle much of the infrastructure themselves, scramble to add capacity. Microsoft created this situation by making Windows 11 intolerable and locking out computers that work fine. Zorin OS captured the exodus by being ready when refugees needed somewhere to land. The demographics Microsoft should fear most.
Zorin OS is known in the Linux world, and also from my own experiences, as one of the best starting points that a new user that is switching over from Windows or just generally starting out can.
The Zorin OS user survey reveals something more alarming than the numbers. The demographics. Who's switching? The survey asked new users their age range, occupation, and previous operating system. Results paint a picture Microsoft cannot dismiss. 43% of new Zorin OS users are over 50. Not young tech-savvy users, not early adopters comfortable with change. People in their 50s, 60s, and 70s switched to Linux. That demographic was considered permanently locked into Windows. Too unfamiliar with alternatives. Too dependent on Windows habits. Too risk-averse about changing operating systems. Windows 11 pushed them past their risk tolerance anyway. Because losing their Windows 10 computer to artificial obsolescence, perfectly functional hardware declared incompatible was more disruptive than switching to Zorin OS. Margaret Hoffman is 63, retired teacher, uses her computer for email, browsing, video calls with grandchildren, and managing photos. Her 2017 Lenovo laptop cannot run Windows 11. She was not willing to spend money on a new computer for software she didn't ask for. Her son installed the Zorin OS for her. She's been using it for 4 months. Her assessment: "It looks like my old computer. Everything is where I expect it. I don't even think about the operating system anymore. It just works. I don't have ads popping up. I don't have things asking me to sign into Microsoft. It's peaceful." Margaret is not a tech enthusiast. She's a retired teacher who just wanted her computer to work. Zorin OS gave her that. The 60-plus demographic is significant beyond numbers. These users have spending power. They buy computers for family members, give tech advice to friends, influence purchasing decisions in their networks. When Microsoft loses a 60-year-old user to Linux, they lose someone who influences 5 other potential Windows users. The ripple effect from this demographic switch is enormous. The small business discovery. The second major demographic in Zorin OS's growth: small business owners. Businesses with 5 to 50 employees. Historically Microsoft's loyal base. Office software. Windows PCs. Microsoft 365. The whole stack. These businesses are discovering Zorin OS through their IT consultants. Independent consultants who support small businesses are recommending it because it saves their clients money and reduces support calls. James Okafor runs IT support for small businesses in Atlanta. He manages computers for 31 small business clients, total of 280 computers. In mid-2025, he started recommending Zorin OS to clients whose computers couldn't meet Windows 11 requirements. The economics were obvious. New Windows, 1.1. Compatible computers cost $800, $1,200 each. Zorin OS installation on existing computers costs nothing except his labor. For a business with 20 computers facing hardware replacement, that's $16,000, $24,000 saved. His clients' results were uniformly positive. Nobody complained about the switch. Several said their computers felt faster. One client reported that employee complaints about computer problems dropped 70% after migration. Fewer update interruptions, fewer slowdowns, fewer strange errors. James started recommending Zorin OS proactively, not just for incompatible computers. for any client looking to reduce IT costs. He's migrated 190 small business computers to Zorin OS since September 2025. Clients are happy. He's getting referrals from satisfied clients to their business owner friends. One IT consultant in Atlanta is personally responsible for 190 computers leaving the Windows ecosystem. Multiply that by thousands of similar consultants reaching the same conclusions. Small businesses are quietly abandoning Windows without any announcement or press release. What Zoran OS does that Windows 11 stopped doing?
Time that I'm recommending a new distro to somebody, I always say to go with one of the mainstream offerings, but I do think that Zorin OS, while it's definitely not on the level of something like Ubuntu and Linux Mint,
HTTPS U2 be divided by GA 2 FBOMQI SI equals RGNQ 0XH9 RNWV 8 ZC 1732 minus 1744. Users switching to Zorin OS consistently describe what they found and what they escaped. The contrast reveals exactly how completely Windows 11 failed its users. What they found on Zorin OS: their computer boots in under 15 seconds. Applications open instantly, no background processes, stealing performance. The desktop starts clean every time. No notifications asking them to upgrade to premium features. No prompts to set up Microsoft accounts. No Copilot suggestions interrupting work. No ads in the file manager. No recommended apps in the start menu. No telemetry collections sending their data to servers they don't control. When they close the laptop lid, it sleeps. When they open it, it wakes. Every time. Without fail. The operating system does what they tell it to do. Nothing more, nothing less. What they escaped: forced restarts during important work, updates that undo user preferences, Copilot activating during focused tasks, Microsoft account requirements for basic functions, OneDrive prompts, Bing search integration that can't be fully removed, recall, screenshot, advertisements in the start menu, telemetry that can't be completely disabled, an operating system that constantly asks for things instead of doing what users need. One Zorin OS user summed it up in a forum post that got shared thousands of times. Windows 11 felt like having an employee who constantly asks for raises, monitors your work, tells you how to do your job, and interrupts meetings to suggest improvements. Zorin OS feels like a tool that sits quietly on my desk and works when I pick it up. I forgot operating systems could be this peaceful. The brothers who accidentally built the escape route, Artyom and Kirill Zorin, never planned to absorb Windows refugees by the million. They built the Zorin OS because they wanted a Linux distribution that their less technical family members could use. The design philosophy came from watching relatives struggle with Linux's unfamiliar interfaces. Make it look like Windows. Make it familiar. Make switching frictionless. That simple philosophy, maintained for 17 years, turned out to be exactly what 1 million quarterly users needed in late 2025. The brothers did a rare interview in January 2026. Asked about the explosion in users, Artyom said something that went viral across tech communities. "We didn't grow because we did something clever. We grew because Microsoft stopped treating users like people. We just kept treating users like people." The difference became obvious. 14 words that summarize Windows 11's failure. Microsoft stopped treating users like people. Users noticed. Users left. They found the Zorin OS, a project run by two brothers who build software to help people, not to extract data, not to drive cloud subscriptions, not to force AI adoption, to help people use their computers comfortably. That remains a radical concept in 2026, only because Microsoft made it radical by abandoning it. The humiliation nobody at Microsoft will admit. Here is the humiliation that Microsoft executives cannot say out loud but understand completely. A Linux distribution built by two people in Dublin is growing faster than Windows 11 adoption. Windows 11 has been available for over 4 years. It has Microsoft's entire marketing budget, Microsoft's entire developer workforce, Microsoft's enterprise relationships, Microsoft's retail presence. Windows 11 has everything. Zorin OS has two brothers, a small team, and community volunteers. No marketing budget worth mentioning, no retail presence, no enterprise sales team. No bundling deals with hardware manufacturers. Nothing but software built to respect users. And Zorin OS absorbed 1 million new users in one quarter, while Windows 11 continues losing ground monthly. That is the humiliation. Not that Linux is winning. That the version of Linux winning is a tiny volunteer-supported project. Because the barrier Microsoft couldn't overcome wasn't technical. It wasn't financial. Wasn't market reach. It was philosophy. Microsoft's philosophy of extracting value from users versus Zorin's philosophy of providing value to users. Users can feel the difference. And 1 million of them voted with their migration in just 90 days. Where this ends, February 2026. Zorin OS at 3.2 million active users and climbing rapidly. Linux overall at 13.4% desktop market share. Windows at 54.9%, the first time Windows has dropped below 55% since reliable tracking began. Mac at 22.6%, Chrome OS at 6.8%. The trend is clear and accelerating. Windows is losing, not to one competitor, to a movement. Every Linux distribution is growing, because Windows 11 is pushing users toward anything else. Zorin OS represents something specific in this story. It proves the migration isn't just for technically sophisticated users. 63-year-old retired teachers are switching. Small business owners are switching. People who never heard of Linux 6 months ago are switching. And they're not struggling. They're succeeding immediately because Zorin OS removed every barrier Microsoft created for years by making Linux unfamiliar. Bill Gates spent 40 years building Windows into essential infrastructure. Microsoft spent the following 25 years building on that foundation. Windows 11 spent 4 years dismantling everything that foundation represented. User respect, user control, user ownership. And now, 1 million users per quarter are finding shelter in a Linux distribution built by two brothers who simply never stopped respecting the people using their software. Share this if you want people to know Zorin OS exists, because 1 million Windows refugees already found it. Millions more are looking. And Microsoft still hasn't figured out that you cannot build loyalty through surveillance, interruptions, and forced dependencies. You build it by treating users like people. Zorin OS knows that. Windows 11 forgot, and users are choosing accordingly.